There, Tilray traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Friday, April 19th. Happy Friday. It is 420 Eve. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to be discussing Tilray brands. We're going to take a look at the chart. We're going to take a look at the investor psychology cycle and how similar it is. And we've seen this movie before, right? And if anybody hasn't seen this chart and the psychology of a market cycle, I think this is really going to be a helpful video for a lot of people. It's probably something we've seen, a million times, myself included, but it's nice to have a reminder every once in a while as well. And then we'll bring up the Tilray chart toward the end, and I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. But as always, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and you should never ever buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. I'm going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And full disclosure, I do own Tilray. It's my largest position in my MJ portfolio. Also going to be giving away an annual membership to the Pow Group private community valued at $150 tomorrow on 420. If you go to the YouTube channel, click on community, just scroll down and you'll see the details there on how to enter into that giveaway. And that's in celebration of 420, Germany and Florida on the ballot. So good luck to the lucky winner. I'll announce that tomorrow on a live stream. I'll just do a random comment picker. I posted this, a day ago or so. I said, I've seen this movie before. The blue bars overlaid is the Tilray price action on the monthly chart since February 2021 highs. And that was back when Tilray was at $67. And that was just on hopes of the U.S. legalizing, right? And I hear people say all the time that Tilray can't go to $20, can't go to $50, can't go to $100. The fundamentals don't support it. We're never going to see a hype cycle again. We're very much in this depression and disbelief phase. People don't think things can happen, which I don't understand the logic behind it. If something was at a particular price before, it can absolutely go there again. I hear the argument that, the reason why Tilray was at that price is because of interest rates. Now they're higher. There's no way it can go to that price. I don't understand that at all. There's tons of companies. Look at NVDA. Look at all these other, tech stocks. Look at any, you can bring up any, any tech stock pretty much, but any kind of stock, right, in any kind of industry, and it doesn't matter. You can always find an outlier, but to say that, just because interest rates are high, that to me is not a good argument, right? There's tons of other stocks and cryptos that have done very, very well in a high interest rate environment. So I really don't think that's the end of the world. There's talks about, certain real estate and things like that renewing at a higher rate, maybe, but that's something everybody's going to have, just not from a commercial aspect or from an MJ aspect. It's going to be from, all walks of life, right? Even residential. But with that being said, people say that there's more shares now. Well, we got very close in one day. MJ I think it was March 2023, MJ was seeing a ton of volume. Tilray itself was seeing the most. In one day, Tilray had $2.2 billion traded just on the NASDAQ alone. And if you think about that, it was getting close. I think Erwin Simon said it was getting close to like Apple, the amount of shares that Apple was trading, not dollar volume, obviously, but the amount of shares traded. And then, the people say that, because of dilution, the amount of shares now, that it'll never run ever, to those prices again, which I don't believe whatsoever, right? We look at Canopy. Before they did the reverse split, they were sitting around the same amount of shares, 700 million or so and change shares. And it went from $2, all the way up. It shot up like 400 or 500%, right? So the fact that, Canopy can do it on the same amount of shares, it just, the lower the price, you don't need as many dollars to come in, right? So at the end of the day, this can happen again. And mark my words, not financial advice, Tilray will be a $20 or a $40 stock again. In my opinion, it could easily hit $100 or more. If you look at the market cap of Canopy Growth during its, Canada run up and legalization in Canada, it hit almost $20 billion US. So that's just on the hopes of the US, that was just on the Canadian legalizing. And then we hit $67 on Tilray on the hopes of the US legalizing, right? Just when the Dems took control of the Senate. And then, Biden in the White House, everybody thought they were going to legalize it. So the fact that it can do that just on hopes, imagine what would happen after they actually legalize it. Germany comes online, the rest of the EU, the rest of the world, right? We see big Fortune 500 companies enter the space after rescheduling and full-blown legalization, right? Traditional funding, safe banking, uplisting to the NYSE and the NAT. Like, there's going to be so much growth ahead. It's not even funny. excise tax goes away in Canada, or not goes away, but switched to a percentage fee, and we see, $70-80 million hit Tilray's bottom line, right? That otherwise would have went to that taxation. So you have to really think about that, right? That was just on the hopes. So this is when it ran up, and then that's February 2021 highs to the low here of where we are now. And you can see here it was very, very similar, right? You have that psychology of a market cycle where you see, and it just starts over again, right? So you start to go up, you have your optimism, you have your belief. Sorry, my daughter's crying in the background. My partner's dealing with her, but she's messing with my train of thought here a little bit. But going to thrill, God love her though. Then you see thrill, and then euphoria, then you see complacency, and then you see anxiety, denial, panic, capitulation, anger, goes into depression, and then disbelief. Let me know in the comment section below where you think we are. I think we're somewhere in between depression, and I think we're still in depression actually. And then some are in disbelief, but majority of people are still in depression. And what you have to remember is, a lot of us are holding for this brutal bear market for 4 years, but there's people who invest in this sector and in this stock each and every day, right? So there's some people that could be, just either break even, down slightly, or could even be up on their position, right? Maybe they bought at 150 or 160. So you have to keep in mind that everybody's situation is different, right? And in my opinion, Tilray isn't going anywhere. And you can see how eerily similar this is, right? And this is not just Tilray. You could bring up any chart, right? You can look at Amazon in the .com days, whenever it went from 2000, it dropped like 95% in 2000 to 2001. We see it in crypto all the time. We see it in electric vehicles and any walk of life, right? Just as a case in point, I went back to the .com bubble on the S&P 500, and I took the same bar chart from the high here in 2000 to the low of the bear market in 2002, and you move that out, it's a very similar looking chart, right? So again, you can just delete that, go grab your bar chart, go from the high to the low there, and then again, just move it over. It's very similar, right? This is what they do. It doesn't move exactly, verbatim down to the day, the second, the minute, but overall, it's very similar. And you can find this on anything, right? You can find this on any stock, any crypto, any industry, any sector. And this is how they do it, right? This is how they play with people's emotions. This is what they do. They run things up, hundreds of percent, maybe thousands of percent. They get every last retail investor in at the very end. They get mainstream media pumping it, right? Saying it's going to $1 million, $1,000. It's never going to correct from here. And then they use retail investors like us as exit liquidity. And then they crash it, 70, 80, 90%, especially in new emerging markets, right? Nascent industries. And then they have a brutal bear market that usually spans across multiple years. And then they get everybody bored, investor fatigue, angry, right? Depressed, disbelief. And then the cycle starts over again. So let me know in the comment section below where you think we are. But obviously, I think this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Tilray being my biggest. So, some people think I'm biased, but I'll give you the bears thesis right now. It's not looking too hot. On the hourly time frame, the only thing that we got going for us is a potential for an hourly uptrend here. So we had our low, high, the bounce, and then actually it was right here, low, high, the bounce, and then an equilibrium. So we have our low, high, higher low, lower high, higher low. So we're just tightening up here on the hourly time frame. We could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. And if we break above $1.79, then it's hourly uptrend confirmed. And then we could start the daily bounce, which hasn't happened now. I had a small little bounce here back on April 16th, but it was just, by a couple pennies. So pretty much we have no resistance all the way up on the daily time frame until 297, right? This move's all coming off of that high, and it's just been a lower high every single candle pretty much. And the good thing about a big, hard, and fast move to the downside is usually it's met with an aggressive move to the upside, and same vice versa, right? Big, aggressive move up equals big, aggressive move down, similar to here. That's why it's important to establish support and resistance along the way. But at the moment, it is a bear flag here on the 4-hour time frame. So we have our high, low, lower high. This was a very weak bounce. Anything under the 0.382 fib there at 237 USD was a potential bear flag. And then once we came down and lost support there at $1.96, that confirmed it. And if you just take your measured move there from the high to the low, move it out to your 0.382 fib, it's saying we're targeting 160. We did hit 169. And if we zoom out to the monthly time frame, that is the key monthly resistance, right? We have a double bottom there at 161 and 160, and then the all-time low there at 150. So we're just looking for this monthly higher low. We came within about 10% after hours this month, way back, and we almost broke monthly resistance and confirmed an uptrend, but Unfortunately, we came within about 10%, but we didn't get it done. So 340's key resistance on the monthly and key support is 160. So realistically, we're just looking for a monthly higher low compared to 150, but it's looking like we could see a little bit more downside. But again, we'll watch for that hourly uptrend. If we fail to confirm an hourly uptrend and break to a lower low, then we'll be looking at that key support there and bear flag target of 160 and the double bottom there on the monthly time frame. And then on the weekly time frame, again, you just see big move up, no support. We weren't even in a weekly uptrend. We lost the weekly uptrend and we broke the lower low and lower high pattern. So we're no longer in a weekly downtrend, but we didn't confirm a weekly uptrend and we had barely any support. So essentially, we pretty much given back this whole move. So we'll see. We'll see if we get rescheduling, safe banking. A lot of speculation that could happen before the elections as well. There's talk about putting MJ banking in a crypto bill. More than likely going to be stablecoin legislation. I think will get approved. But essentially, we do have a gap there around 250. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did trend back up to around 250 here on Tilray in the not too distant future. But yeah, in terms of the weekly time frame, not looking good, right? We had a warning sign last week. We had a bear cross of the stochastic on the weekly, and now the MACD's crossing bearish here on the weekly, and we closed below the 10-week moving average. So it really is all about monthly support now. So on the weekly time frame as well, we closed below all the weekly moving averages. So technically speaking, it's not looking good. But one glimmer of hope is a potential golden cross here with the 50-day below the 200-day moving average set to potentially cross really any week now for the second time, which would be the second time since the highs of and the bear market that started. So this would be the first time since I think October and November of 2020. If we just zoom out here, and generally, yeah, so it was the first time since way back here before we went to $67. So that was December of 2020 when it occurred. Then we had the death cross with the 50-day above the 200-day moving average. Then we saw the golden cross here for the first time on the HHS recommendation hype of Schedule 3. And now I think the more than likely this second time is going to be showtime. And I think it could happen based on rescheduling to Schedule 3 actually getting approved by the DEA or some sort of news catalyst with regards to safe banking and attaching MJ banking to a crypto bill. So like I said, not looking too hot here. I do think that there's a good chance that we head back to around 160, but that must hold support. Is what's the most important there on the monthly time frame. A lot of names are confirming monthly uptrends, right? We have SNDL, High Tide, VFF, Cron, all in monthly uptrends, and it's not uncommon for them to, these market makers are smart, right? They know that people are mostly interested in Tilray, right? $2.2 billion traded on the NASDAQ in one day tells you that it has garnered a lot of attention, and a lot of retail investors just look at the numbers on my videos. Most people watch Tilray. My Tilray videos get anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 views on the high end. The most after that's like Canopy. If you look at my MSOS videos, my Truly videos, my Green Thumb videos, they're very low. They're usually only in the few hundreds, right? So again, Tilray is the biggest, it's the most popular among the retail investors, and that's why they create so much FUD. That's why they create so much impatience, right? They try to draw it out as long as possible, and then you see like names like CGC and Aurora running, and you're like, what the hell is are we living in an upside down world? Why does this make any sense? In what world does this make sense? What they're trying to do is to get you to basically question your overall thesis, question your investment in Tilray, buy CGC when it's ran hundreds of percent, then it'll pull back, rinse and repeat, right? And then eventually Tilray will run. So that's what happened back when Canada legalized it as well. I remember in the days when we had the Cron indicator, and Cron was just the star of the show and shining star. But like I said, I do think we could see a short-term pain ahead, but I think the days are limited before we see a monthly uptrend confirm on Tilray and massive price appreciation. So we've already seen lots of volatility and lots of big moves to the upside, but also matched with volatility to the downside. But that's ultimately what we're here for, is the volatility. And you can't get 10x, 50x, 100x gains without 80 to 90% pullback. And remember, if you're down 80, 90% plus in your MJ portfolio, that means somebody else made a ton of money. So it's just the tipping of the scales, right? So we got to just be patient. As Warren Buffett said, the stock market is a mechanism from transferring wealth from the impatient to the patient. So which one are you going to end up being, right? Anyways, happy Friday. Hope you have a great weekend ahead. If you enjoyed this video, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, where we are in the investor psychology cycle. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you on the next one.